In today's video, we are descending a rotten stair to clean the basement. We are pumping out water, cleaning the rooftops, and climbing a 6.5 meter high ladder just to make sure that the basement will stay dry. Along the way, we find some hidden treasures and also some structural problems. But if you missed the last episode, let me first give you a quick introduction. My name is Jamie and I just bought this beautiful home in the north of Belgium. The house is almost 100 years old and has been neglected for at least a year. The basement is completely flooded, the roof is falling down, and the interior design was last updated before I was born. And the owner, well, he just left a lot of stuff. But behind all of that, there is a solid foundation and the guy that spent lots of time watching other renovation and is now coping with the Dunning-Kruger effect. When I first got the keys of the house, I started immediately cleaning the basement. This process took well over a week, but was definitely needed, because of course all of this moisture is bad for the house, and it also made a terrible smell. Looking at the yellow line on the wall, at some point the water has reached around 60 centimeters. The previous owner told me that all of this water was just rainwater that came in through the windows over a long period of time. Therefore, everything started floating and it became this big mess. All of the wooden parts, such as the shelving and the stairs to get into the basement, were completely rotten. The only solution was to put on my boots and start moving everything outside. As you can see, there was quite a lot of stuff that I sadly needed to throw away. Then, with most of the stuff out of the basement, I could start pumping out the water. This was a tedious task, because the pump would constantly block due to the dirty water. But eventually I managed to pump out most of the water through these tubes into a small creek at the backside of the house. For the remaining water, I just used a shovel and a bucket. So with the basement finally dry, I could assess the state of the walls. As you could see, due to the moisture, they completely fall out. Obviously, this is only the plaster, but this would make a big mess. So my idea was to remove as much as possible with a shovel. So here you can see me just shoveling away all of the loosened parts. And this worked quite well and it kept everything dry, but eventually I wanted to get rid of this yellow dirty line, so I was using high pressure water. This worked quite fine. It didn't remove all of it, but some bit at least. Of course, this made the entire basement wet again, but this was not a problem because at the moment I'm already an expert in drying out the basement. But of course, the problem really is, why did this water came into the basement in the first place? So what I needed to do is climb this 6.5 meter high level. As you can see here from the video, I go very slowly. It doesn't seem so high from the video, but trust me, it was. And there was already quite some wind that day. So my dad was there to support me in case something went wrong. I climbed up very carefully in order to see what was happening. And well, as you can imagine, with so many trees around the house, the gutter was completely filled with fallen leaves, some other type of debris. And it would be very nice to film something from on top, but I didn't. It was already scary enough to get on top of this, and I didn't want to risk anything filming that part. But as you can imagine, the gutter was completely blocked and obviously the water couldn't get loose from there. So all of that water from the front side of the house just fell off the roof and right into the basement. That was the problem. So I needed to fix this ASAP, because whenever some new rain would fall, of course my basement would fill again. On the left side of the house there is this piping which was obviously blocked as well. So we removed it and suddenly all of the water came down. After cleaning it, we reinstalled it, but then obviously the rest of the line still needed to be cleaned. Behind this pipe there is this small well which is designed in order to keep out of all of the debris. But this needs to be cleaned regularly, which was not the case. Afterwards I used the high pressure again in order to clean the piping going away from the house. In the beginning there was a little bit of water, but after a bit all of the water came down and finally all of this piping was cleaned. I've now cleaned the piping on the front side of the roof, but since I have a tilted roof, I obviously have a back side as well. And all of that has to come onto the flat roof from the extension over here. So naturally I decided to climb up this roof to check how the state was. As you can see, it's full of leaves and other debris, and water is standing still on. So since I was already working on it, I decided to clean this one as well. After all of this hard work, the basement is completely cleaned, and I made sure that no rainwater would come in again. Finally, I can show you how large this basement really is. And of course, there is still a lot of things to do, such as repairing the windows, plastering, painting. But for now, I'm just excited to show you what I have found in here. As I already showed you, a lot of stuff I had to throw away. But do you remember these canning jars full of food? Well, I found at least 100 more of them. And since they go around 3 to 5 euros each, I ain't planning of throwing that away. But as with everything in this house, it first needed a good cleaning. Another useful find was the shelving. They are made from metal strips and wooden planks. Of course the wood was completely destroyed, but the metal strips, they were fine. And since the shelving is exactly the same height as my basement, they will be very useful to store all of my stuff. After just a few hours this entire shelving was done, and I did manage to find some recycled wood. If you want to know where this wood is coming from, make sure to watch the next episode, when I'm going to the attic in order to clean everything and inspect the roof. But for today, this is all. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.